Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, how the scourge of sex trafficking has meant thousands of young Nigerian women are being forced into prostitution in Italy. And as the number of homeless people increase in Paris, the city is now offering a female-only shelter for those sleeping in the rough. Also, the trucking company in Ghana that decided to hire solely women drivers in order to combat pilfering among its staff. But we begin in Italy, where thousands of women from Nigeria are being lured to the country on false promises of a better future. Instead, they find themselves victims of criminal gangs who force them into selling their bodies to repay debts of up to €60,000. Our correspondents report on the plight of these women and also those who are trying to help them.
They are between 13 and 35 years old. Thousands of women, originally from Nigeria, are forced into prostitution every night on the streets of Italy. Their stories usually begin in the same way, in their village back home.
A lady promised that I will come to Italy for schooling. She promised me scholarship. She did all the necessary documents for me, the admission letter from the school.
But for many of them, this promise rapidly turns into a nightmare. As soon as they arrive in Italy, these young women are forced into the sex trade. Once a week, this group of Catholic volunteers comes to visit them in the suburbs of Pescara, one of the largest seaside towns on the Adriatic coast.
We go into the areas where these girls, victims of sex trafficking, are forced to prostitute themselves. We approach each one of them and we offer them something to drink and some sweet bread. It helps to break the ice.
Sister, ciao. Possiamo salutarti? Lo vuoi un po' di tè?
The objective is to create a rapport and instill confidence to then help them escape the sex trade. A long-term undertaking.
Before coming here, these Nigerian girls are subjected to ritual juju ceremonies by a witch doctor. They have to swear to carry out everything they're asked to do in Italy. It's one of the reasons it's so difficult to convince them to leave this life on the streets.
Each one of these girls is under the control of a woman known as the madam or the mama.
The mama controls every moment of each girl's life, and when the girls return, she takes the money they've made during the night.
Mary was 18 when she fell into the hands of a group of sex traffickers. Today, she feels brave enough to tell us of the horrors she has lived through.
I started walking on the streets, started seeing different men, old, young, coming and having sex with me, Sometimes they pay 10 euro, at least 20, or at times they pay nothing. If there's no work, 6 to 7 men in a day. If I don't do it, when I get home the next day, I receive the beating of my life. So I still got some marks on my body from the beating. The traffickers.
Transformed into a sex slave, Mary, like the other young women, was forced to repay a debt. The amount of the debt was set by her madam.
She told me I was going to pay 45,000 euros. She was threatening me that if I don't do the stuff, she's going to beat me till I die.
According to the UN's International Organization for Migration, 80% of Nigerian women who arrive in Italy are forced into the sex trade. Juliette Herson is a midwife with Doctors Without Borders. She is part of a medical team that helps women after their Mediterranean sea crossing.
I meet many Nigerian women. Often they're young or even very young, women who have no idea what awaits them. We try to give them a little heads up, and so we talk to them when they arrive about prostitution, the risks, and how to be careful.
This Catholic nun helps these women to escape from the sex trade and to rebuild a life. In this community centre, a dozen women have swapped the pavement for a sewing machine.
Today, all these women have rediscovered a zest for life. They have a future, they have employment opportunities, and they earn money in an honest way.
Cynthia has been working here for 4 years.
It's a way of reintegrating, of becoming part of society again. But above all, it gives us back our dignity.
During its 20-year existence, this NGO has helped over 400 Nigerian women reintegrate society. Women like Blessing, who has written a book about her experiences working the streets of Italy. Today, she campaigns on both sides of the Mediterranean against sex trafficking.
I was in one village in Nigeria that was last year. After I finished speaking in the church, some women came to meet me, telling me that their daughters were in Italy. Then I left my contact with them. Then when I came back, 5 girls contacted me. And those 5 girls were relocated by anti-human trafficking.
A victory, but there's still a long way to go, as an estimated 30,000 women are currently subjected to sexual exploitation in Italy.
Now, here in Paris, the French capital opened its first ever female-only shelter for homeless women in December. This as the number of people sleeping rough on the streets of Paris is on the rise. Julia Kim has more.
An open door for women living on the streets of France's capital. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. France's first homeless shelter for women only offers a warm meal, a hot shower, and health screenings for up to 100 visitors a day. And it's a huge source of comfort for those who've suffered unspeakable torment.
What I've been through, it's hard. I don't even want to talk about it, but here I think we're safe since it's just women. I feel more reassured and confident.
The facility also provides the services of a psychologist and a midwife during the day, as well as beds for up to 50 people overnight. Because spaces in emergency shelters fill up quickly, many women say they're often left to sleep rough or resort to performing sexual favors in exchange for a roof over their heads. All the more reason for facilities like these.
I
had a partner, then we split up. And since then, I've been on the street. I have nowhere to go. For me, this is like a community residence. I meet people who are like me. We talk. It feels good. It brings me some comfort.
According to Paris's 2019 census on homeless people in the capital, about 12% are female. But some women's associations claim that number is a gross underestimate. 90% of female rough sleepers have suffered violence on the streets. As a result, many hide themselves away, sleeping in vehicles or hospitals, out of sight and out of mind for the city's officials.
We have women who are coping with economic hardship, migrant women and refugees, whom we don't necessarily see in the camps, but who tend to wander and isolate themselves. So there's a real need. There are more and more homeless women in Paris, and facilities like this are clearly needed and must respond to that need.
Over the last 6 months, Paris has added 2 new female-only drop-in centres to its slowly growing list of facilities for homeless women.
Now, female truck drivers are rare at the best of times, but one company in Ghana claims to have become the first in the world to employ solely women drivers to supply fuel to mining sites. It was time for a different approach, the management says.
Located in the west of Ghana, the port city of Takoradi is a hub for transportation businesses. It's here that Payan Marfo runs her women-only trucking company, Ladybird Logistics. As well as empowering women in a male-dominated sector, employing female drivers brings other benefits to her business.
I think the female drivers are more cautious. They're really careful. Maybe it's a female thing because we are always thinking about the children that we have at home and making sure that you don't want to take certain risk.
Every day in Ghana, hundreds of truck drivers take to the country's ramshackle roads to transport petrol to mining sites. It's a job that's traditionally been done by men. A 2018 survey found that just 0.3% of Ghanaian women were employed in the transport and storage sector, compared with nearly 8% of men. But fuel companies are losing a lot of money because drivers often siphon off supplies for themselves. The managing director of Zen Petroleum realised hiring women could stop the widespread theft, so began to have fuel delivered by Ladybird. With over 20 female drivers now working there, the reaction from other companies and from male drivers has been positive.
They're good drivers. We've not had any major incident to date. So I think now there's a lot of respect from the men, and they realize that these ladies are good drivers.
Following in the footsteps of many of her family members, Abigail Amoa was already working as a trucker. But when she heard about a new company employing exclusively female drivers, she jumped at the chance to get involved.
So I feel so proud because it helped me a lot. So I'm encouraging other women. You see, we have companies, but all female. That's the first time in, I think, even not Ghana, the whole world. So I'm encouraging other women out there to join the campaign for us to empower women to drive.
It may have only recently been created, but this trucking company has big ambitions for the future. Drivers like Abigail want to set a precedent in the country that they hope will pave the way for change in other industries and sectors.
Great to see. And that's it for now. You can also connect with us via our Facebook page, that being, of course, France24.51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. So until our next show, bye for now.